Yesterday I was tackling my salad, and I realised people get stuck on ideas, and this is a large problem where it's just, I don't know, we can evolve it. And yeah, I realised that it's like the idea of tackling the salad. So like it might be the idea of just tackling. That's what I'm saying. Like so it might just be someone getting stuck on footy, on football, and or a sport or something like that. You know, the idea of tackling. And yeah, because I was like, oh, I'm tackling this salad because I was really hungry. Um, and yeah, imagine because you know the language bandwidth of our cultures and our world, we don't evolve past that. That's our state of evolution. Um, you know, the wider the bandwidth, the more evolved the downloading of. I mean, larger vocabulary allows for the downloading of higher concepts, and further reaching lexicon allows you to paint a picture when you talk as well. Um, yeah, I was just thinking about it, like people getting stuck on ideas and like, because I always see stagnation and like think, well, it seems we need to evolve consciousness before we can like evolve like more practical things. And I always think about working on the conscious level because it's kind of like the base. It's the stream of evolution, our consciousness, and it's linguistical. If you haven't noticed the little mouth noises, um, but as language tries to go pictorial, there'll be more of being the other person. You actually be the other person when you know exactly what they mean, and when you experience something someone else has, and you kind of realize, oh, I'm an Earth brain cell, a Gaian brain cell, in those kind of moments. Um, yeah, and people get stuck on things. It's like reoccurring loop, and it's this idea of ascension that everyone's heard about on the internet a lot. Like, well, really, ascension can be this simple. I drew a little diagram, a circle, just on a piece of paper, and then an arrow pointing out of it, you know? So the arrow of ascension. It's like circular living, and then ascending out of it. Now, you think about that with your thoughts. So ascending out of thought spirals, like emotional trappings, fourth dimensional sort of charge that you put to words, and the emotivity as well. So you become fifth dimensional, and you know you stand outside of it, like that Eckhart Tolle guy would say about like awareness. Just stand back and be awareness. Don't try not to think at all, and just watch the thoughts, observe the thoughts like that. And you'll notice pretty quickly that you'll detach from stuff. Like, I don't know, even if I have an argument on the internet, I'll detach from it way quicker these days, and because I realise that. So yeah, all these people getting stuck on thoughts like in reoccurring loops, and that's why I say open up and do the meditation. Go to the Yoga Meditation Healing page in consciousazine.com because it's really big and really good techniques on there. Should be able to help anyone. There's one that even says Dr. Billy Doctor goes into the Google Tech Talks team. So I mean, Google can afford the best, I'm sure. And so Dr. Billy Doctor goes in there, and she shows this Indian Australian lady, Saraja, I think her name is, her technique, and she leaves out the bottom chakra, but it's still like when I first found it, I was like, wow, and that was what I'd done for about 2 or 3 years. and that's about the sympathetic nervous system, the ganglion of nerves running on each side of the spine, and it also does have to do with the vagus nerve, I think, when you get to the neck there, that you're really opening that up. The vagus nerve is known as the empathetic nerve, so empathy. So we actually are empathetically wired. It's just some people have shut down, remember, from the heart above. So the vagus nerve also gets, it cannot be open yet or something, you know. Something's going on like this because it's correlating definitely to, you know, the higher heart and stuff. Because it's about empathy. And as we know with this organic portals theme, I read this reading called Organic Portals. I bet there's a lot of like proponents to the other side of it, and even they addressed haters in the article itself. And it starts off a bit, I don't know, to my liking a bit dodgy, but it doesn't really matter. I just kept reading. I almost stopped reading because it starts off about Adam, Eve, and a split. But then I synchronistically got this YouTube video. I saw this YouTube video called Soul Travelers, which is 5 hours long, and it's called Soul Travelers on YouTube, and I watched that, and the same theme was in there. Then, funnily enough, I found Terence McKenna's work on evolving times. Now, he has the stoned apes theory, the famous stoned apes theory, that apes came out of the arboreal trees into the plains, and you know, we were on a fruit diet up in the trees, and then the hominids came down, and the early hominids, we don't know when, but obviously it's not, I mean, Terence takes you through why it's not absurd to make these claims, and I have rebutted on the on the evolutionary page in Consciousness. I've rebutted the one scholarly article that was in rebuttal to Terence's stoned apes theory, and then also this Martin Ball guy. He's just an idiot. I just heard him and his talk. Jonas from Zealous Musings page in Consciousness gave it to me, and I watched it, and he was just a dickhead. So I'm not even going to go there. Can't believe he has a PhD. And yeah, I've rebutted that on there, and I'm pretty happy with that. And I really think you should watch the Evolving Times talk by Terence McKenna, because he takes you through it, and especially the rebuttal that they try and throw at his visual acuity thing, and that guy never claiming that he told Terence that, but I'm pretty sure it happened. I don't know, that one of the scholars says that the study never happened and Terence McKenna made it up, but even when you're on it, that's just what I said in my rebuttal. I said, well, even when you're on it, you notice what he's talking about. You know, when you take a psychedelic and you're say you're at the front of a forest, first it's duller, and then you take the psychedelic and it's not as dull, and all the trees stand out more. I've been noticing it, because I was looking for what could he have been talking about with his hard edge detection. Now, he said there was tests done with grad students by some guy and some, you know, scholar, and a bar was moved, and then they could tell easier on the drugs when the bar was moved, so visual acuity, he used to call it, and how that would have led to advantage on the hominid play field against the other hominids. Now, to reverse back, this mirrors what I heard on Soul Travelers, like just about Adam and Eve. This start, why Adam and Eve so famous? You know, it's in the Bible, it's the first man, but as if man just popped up out of the dirt. We know it's called evolution. We have the fossil records, and quite a solid timeline. I mean, all you have to really say to a religious person who thinks the world's 10,000 years old is fossil. That's one word, fossil. And yeah, I really think it's worth an idea, because this is worth a worthy idea, because these things all connected up. Something about Adam and Eve. Now I'm calling them the first indigos. And another video, maybe it was the Pharmacratic Inquisition on YouTube. Pharmacratic Inquisition. It was talking about similar and magic mushroom muscaria, the red mushroom with the white stalk and the white dots on the top. It's very famously pictured everywhere, many cultures, and that's the Amanita muscaria and the fly agaic. They're sort of similar and stuff, but they've separated them. So that one is, they're saying, is connected to Christmas. And I damn well believe it too. They make the case, and I think I agree. From what I know, I haven't seen anything going against it that I know myself yet, so I'm going with it because I think that's how it is. And also, this Pharmacratic Inquisition one makes the similarity to psilocybin cubensis. Oh yeah, it talks about psilocybin cubensis and Shiva, the god of India. Shiva and the other guy, god man. What was it? Shiva and you probably know the one. The two blue guys. Now, why are they blue? Because the psilocybin cubensis breaks blue, and if you know a bit about it, it seems so obvious. And there's always cows depicted next to Shiva and the other god man that I've forgotten the name of India. And so they were put to god man status. Terence McKenna wrote a book called Food of the Gods. I mean, it all connects up for me, and it seems pretty obvious that, and it makes you go inside. That's indigo, going inside, introspecting, but not just. Terence McKenna once said, psychology without psychedelics is like pissing into the wind, and that's relevant here. And he made a really good analogy the other day, I heard. When you want to know about the atom, we smash it apart. So he said the same with psychedelics on your consciousness. If you really want to see what's going on, smash it apart and bring it back together and see what it's all made of, and etc. So you do that with yourself, on-site plant hallucinogens. No synthetics, not even LSD, I don't recommend. I'm calling for plant hallucinogens and people growing foods, not lawns, and us permaculture foresting everywhere and in the urban area. Because when you walk down the street, is so much more bad vibe than when I walked in the rainforest. Have you noticed the difference? I have. A very big difference. And I mean, why not be comfortable? Why be all, and it's often to do with visibility and upkeep. Well, everyone takes care of it. Upkeep's not a problem. I mean, if that garden needs watering, we see if we've got the water to do it. And we just want to make a paradise, not this concrete jungle shit. And more people need to be more sparsely dispersed and have high-speed internet connections. I said to my girlfriend the other day, I want to be on the grass on my computer in my backyard and I don't know, making our garden or something. And but yeah, you have to be next to that. It's like the connection to the species over mind. I mean, everyone's got their content on there. It's called the World Wide Web, and you access the World Wide Web via the internet. So yeah, everyone needs an internet high-speed connection in the bush. more sparsely dispersed anyway than we are, because I mean, so many people are going to keep dying until we do this. I mean, have you heard about how many people would die, say, if Mexico City was to, well, I dare say it's going to start happening if the blue gold wars take off more. Water wars. Yeah, water will be the blue gold. That's the analogy people are making. And I mean, it is a big issue. I've seen a lot of videos on water. Let's switch this because I think it's worth talking about. There's a chemistry guy who shows you on All Around Health page and consciousnessing.com exactly like in the chemistry lab. He's talking about it and he's showing you, and it's pretty disgusting. Then when you hear more, say, hippie people talk about it with very valid points, like Daniel Vitalis saying, ultimately you want to go to spring water holes, natural spring water holes that have been in underground aquifers, because they've got nice memory. And as the other scientists from, say, Phys.org.com have informed me, whoever's articles they've written about, Phys.org.com, they would have written about some universities prestigiously doing something, and they discovered water dances like 16 billion times a second, I think molecularly or atomically, I've forgotten. I think atomically. Something to do with the electrons, I'm guessing. So just really changing state often, at some level anyway, or you forget what level. At some level, water is changing 16 billion times. It's called water's dance. You should be able to Google it. Look on Phys.org.com, Phys.org.com, like physics. And yeah, so Daniel Vitalis talks at the longevity conference, and he's a friend of that David Wolf guy. He was saying, yeah, underground aquifers. He started a website. I think it was a really good idea because you can actually put information up there. That's what we need. That's bottom-up approach, the New Earth program. Everyone helping each other so we all have paradise, and not instead of working against each other, which is what we seem to be doing. Neurotic. That's why I have a video series called Neurotic Nuclear Family Model. Because it's neurotic. We need to work together more. Proper communities and paradise. It's neurotic the way we've set it up. As we start to change it, people will become unneurotic. They'll become better. They'll be healed by more trees in the street, etc. And not having to work 5 days a week. I mean, everyone can work 4 days a week if we all have gardens, if there's just a flourishing paradise everywhere. And I mean food, so you don't even have to go to the store. You walk to work, you're local, and everyone can switch around because everyone cares about the community. We all want to keep running it, so everyone can even switch jobs and learn all the jobs. We're going to be multi-dimensionals. We're not creating monotowns anymore. There's no energy going there. It's the flow of the universe. It's not my decision. I've just noticed it. So I call on others in high positions to notice this. And you should pass the video around, because I'm going to start talking about a lot more in depth about all this. I'm currently studying too much to really go into too much research with all of this. This is all stuff that I've found before this semester. I mean, I'm not living yearly anymore or anything like this. I'm living really in the now, and I'm studying full time. So when I make a video like I am right now, I'm not going into as deep as I could. But I call on people to see the obvious things that I'm mentioning. And so, because it's up to us, it's not like just up to some certain people, it's up to everyone. And yeah, imagine if on every corner where the kids' park is, we had food trees, so they could just run around chuckle-headed and eat their fruit and not fight as much. And I don't know, be in a little paradise. Teach them permaculture at a young age, like in the park. So yeah, that food, and you can have the trees labeled so as they grow up, they know information about it. It's pretty simple. Because what I see these days, I mean, here, where I am at least, at Tweed Heads, it's just shittest gardens. They put it like all the same trees in, no food trees whatsoever. Only random people grow their own mango trees. So yeah. why did I say there's no more energy given to it? Well, yep, this is going off this 2012 change point. It was like a point, definitely, because the time wave is a mathematical formula accurate to like Planck scale, from what I hear. If you listen to Terence McKenna's Tree of Knowledge 10-hour lecture, you'll hear him say it near the end. He takes you through it all, the cycles. There's 13 cycles before the last second, and in the last second there was another 13 cycles, so that was the half of the universe in that 1 second. At the end there, and he said, yeah, it was probably by the heliosphere of the sun. I'd probably agree with that. Going along cosmic timing. Of course, it's not going to be going off the Gregorian calendar exactly, it's just, funnily enough, being set at that date. It's just a date. I mean, even if any of these dates are off, that's what the point is really. Even if they're off by 50 years, that's nothing in the scale of things. How old is the Earth? 4 billion years. Anyway, so this is the Genesis Singularis. This is the 16 billion odd year evolution, grand cycle of conscious awareness. Individual light bodies created from the dark matter background. It took individualized light bodies. It took 16 billion years to make us conscious creators, passive. We're creators separate from the passive creation in a way. No, not separate, all is one. So that was wrong to say. Not separate, but like this, it goes back to this fifth dimensional perspective, standing back from creation, not reacting. Riser from Goldring gave me the notion of moving from reaction to creation. That's a very powerful notion, and that's what I meant. We're moving from reacting and being the entropy, so to speak, of the universe, the vector entropy, to sort of standing back from it, like in this fifth dimensional perspective, as I call it. This awareness, standing back from your emotions, standing back from the thoughts state, and then you can create from there. Seemingly, anyway, seemingly. I still think we're guided by the universe, and we're not guiding the universe, but I'm not sure, because that means man's dirigible. We're guided. Yeah, I discussed a picture on that recently, the dirigible being guided thing. If you're dirigible. Yeah, and these epochs got shorter and shorter. That's the point of the time wave zero, into zero. The epochs got shorter and shorter, the cycles. So there was a 4,000 year cycle, then a 67 year cycle. Now, in 1945, that last cycle, the 67 year or 64 year cycle, coincided with a faint emanation of the Big Bang, an atomic blast, the first atomic blast. So that's pretty funny. I mean, that's not counting in the ancient the ancient technology sort of theory of there was nuclear blast long ago. If you've read about that, sort of not empirical evidence. It's by some what's it called? Like secret archaeology or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's about there was atomic blast long ago, but I don't, and that is anachronistic. It means it stands separate from time, like it's not in the right order of time. It's standing away from actually how the timeline's gone. It's anachronistic, because chronism is time, and so it's like Atlantis, how the people say they had more advanced technology. People say New Age fuckheads say Atlantis had more advanced technology than we have now. It's untrue. They didn't have the same nanotechnologies we do and so on, because that's anachronistic as well, out of the timeline. This is what the time wave zero was about: complexity, novelty versus habit. So when the wave dropped, it went into maximum novelty on the 21st of December. Now, what's maximum novelty mean? It means unpredictability. I synchronistically got 2 articles on time prediction, future time prediction, and past time prediction. I was like, okay, time just happened. Good on you for saying you can predict it. It's such a misnomer. Misappropriation. And yeah, so, we're at the most complex point. That's also why I don't think there's aliens. I think we're the most complex thing, and it brings the focus back to us, the cosmic focus point. It brings the conscious awareness back to you when you're like this. Even if there are aliens and you think that will enlighten everyone and suddenly wake them up, which it may or may not totally do, may not make them wake up. The wake up is seeing, so it's opening the chakras, the higher centers, because you have to see through the third eye, the mind sight, not the eyes, not the surface. But yeah, so everyone who's saying stuff about Atlantis and stuff having more advanced technology, it's too anachronistic. And I mean, I don't want to go into time traveling conspiracy. From what I've seen and read on the internet, there's nothing utterly convincing about any of this stories, like from that Jesse Ventura guy over in America who interviewed that ex-mayor guy who's turned conspiracy theorist with the long hair. Yeah, he interviews people about that sort of stuff. I don't think it's real. I'm not sure, it might be, but it might just be all made up bullshit. It's not convincing to me. Time travel. Except for time travel, all I can say in my life I've seen to that, can contest to that, is the alien phenomena. Grey aliens, this and that, coming in people's sleep, and shadow people. Now, I've actually heard people say that aliens that they've seen were dark and they couldn't see, like, they could only see outline sort of thing, like a shadow person, as I go into on the Lunacidal Paranormality page in Consciousness Zine. I go into it. I've just wrote out a dialogue between me and Mark Johnson, which was a sealer for me. I'm convinced I understand what's going on. It's future identities re-entering timelines through the translinguistic lens out the forehead. Yeah, we're talking third eye and soul extrapolation, exteriorization. And this is the actualized, realized phenomena. It's actually happening, and it's real. And so it's future. See, for me, I'm pretty sure I understand what's going on here. The future, there's not a multiverse in the way of multiple universes. There may be, but it's basically irrelevant, because this is much more relevant. I think there's a future state universe. A universe where it's just a different state. At some point, if consciousness keeps being consciousness, which you would expect, I mean, as we can see after 16 billion years, we're the carriers now of the wave. We're the carriers of this. We're at the pinnacle forefront of creation. That's what we are. And we're the carriers of this wave right now, and it's probably moving into the machine nano domain or something like that now. It's moving into the machine domain. Sort of, we're basically still the carriers, because machines won't have connection to dream time. They won't have a third eye to hold center in. Well, not for a very long time, for the foreseeable future, that's for sure. And yeah, I'm up with the latest technology trends and know about Moore's law. Moore's law is the doubling of transistors on computer chips, which makes your computer cheaper every 2 years, about every 18 months, they say. It's called Moore's law, and there's actually been, as Ray Kurzweil points out, several more laws like it before Moore's law, before that moniker, that title. There was other named ones. That's what a moniker is, a name. So, yeah, we started out by saying people get stuck on ideas, you see. So then you won't ever be able to talk how I am sort of now, because I'm running across ideas. I'm stepping on a golden path of ideas here. Why golden? Well, that's separate to the point I was trying to make. It's sort of a plug-in to that point. Golden because I'm trying to use zeitgeistial gospel words of the times, trying to use the right vocabulary. Is my reality selection, that is, too, and allowing me to pass over higher concepts. Like, the epochs getting shorter and shorter in the time wave is asymptotic, more perfect as it goes along, more cohered, more complex, more concrescent, which is like coming together of, amalgamanish. That's why I took out this notion of amalgaman from that. I now eat very amalgamanly. I eat in an amalgaman nature, like very diversely. I try and go for a new food every fortnight when I go to Nimbin. And indeed I do. I found some pampinon or something weird fruit. I don't think. Oh, do I have it? I can show you. Yes. Here we go. It's like a tomato, but it's not. It's a pampinon or something. She said, wait till it goes soft. So that was for Tina, because she wanted to see. And yeah, I try and go for a new food every fortnight or week, and I'm getting it so far for the last couple of months, only because Nimbin has this town plan. Well, it doesn't have food gardens everywhere, and if it did, it'd be even more flourishing, so that's my advice to Nimbin: grow food gardens everywhere. I mean, out the back of the museum, I think there's some food, but not much. And it could be flourishing everywhere. And this is the type of town centre that I'm talking about. Even I walked into Nimbin one time as a town squire. People just go off about local issues, like about the coal seam gas out the back in the New South Wales hinterland here in Australia. They were going off about the gas. And this lady, there was like town squire. But that way everyone gets informed unbiasedly. I mean, it's biased, but you don't have to take her bias. You can say, oh, I want the coal seam gas. You're free to. But she was just there to try and convince people otherwise, and I thought that was good. Because, well, it was voting for the community as well, and informing everyone in that community. That's why no one was stopping her, I should say. So this is a really good town centre sort of thing, not this over-policing, like America's just becoming a police state. I probably should talk about that more, because from my perspective, well, in 2007 or so, because this has all got to do with getting stuck on ideas, I'll go into another thing I wrote the other day about rays of life, hopefully in a minute. Yeah, so in 2007 I started watching a lot of Alex Jones. No, not 2007, 2009. Started watching a lot of Alex Jones. Just was watching all the conspiracies and all that. Even if he's not right all the time, I think he's got some points. And I mean, have you seen? Most people haven't seen the footage. Well, in the New Age community, just about everyone's seen the footage, and that's the whole point. We want we want a new world order, by the people, for the people, bottom earth up. Feedback systems, not the hierarchical approach. That's bottom up, and that's the New World Order. We don't want New International Economic Order, NIEO. We don't want that, because that's the hierarchical Queen rules us all. I once used to ride my motorbike back in the day in 2008 in the New South Wales coast at Byron Bay, and there was people living in that bush because they were protesting because it was Queen's land, on the Queen's land, not Queensland the state, but it was actual Queen-owned land. I thought, how can an old bitch in a chair over there that kills people around the world, ruling a monarchy, own a piece of land in my backyard? Fuck this shit. That was sort of a definitive, I'm definitely on the light side, not the dark side sort of thing. And there is a light and dark side. The dark side always bodes for a shorter, denser, slower reality. Slower, denser, smaller reality. If you notice, laws, L-A-W-S, laws, they create laws which are restricting. The Light Alliance creates law, L-O-R-E, law, which means a knowledge on a subject or stuff. So we create law, they create law, L-A-W, we create law, L-O-R-E. So that's the difference between light and dark, informational and not informational. We want a more expansive, loving, expanded reality. We are in connection, hence, with the flow. The flow bodes for a more expansive reality. For instance, Mars, right there, our neighbour planet, has 6 times the iron ore Earth does. We could mine it if we needed to. I'm not saying to. I am a terraformist, so I'm a green Martian. The red Martians, the red faction, bode for keeping Mars natural without terraforming it and making it green. I say we make it green and advance and evolve. There's many planets out there. Don't get stuck. This is the point. Don't get stuck. So the green ones would be the evolution, and they would end up winning. It's just like every movie you've ever seen, like Avatar, how the home planet people win. It's that idea. See, we don't want to get stuck on ideas. We're always going on the evolving. Now, everything's going to start to happen quicker and quicker. That's also what maximum novelty means. Not just unpredictability, but it means, everything's going to go quicker and quicker. For me, everything's basically momentarily, as was promised by even other people were saying, oh, it's going to be like no time after 2012. It's like timelessness. Awareness, when you're seeing your thoughts, you're like the timeless one. You are the one, the timeless one. Now, there's many of us. All the ones of us who are awake like this are called the gold ring way showers. And what's the gold ring? It's an analogy. Spiritual reality is symbolic. So you can make analogies. It doesn't mean it's not real. It's just intangible. That's all. And so it's the analogy, the gold ring way showers. What's the gold ring? The analogy is of Gaia, our Earth. Gaia is the hypothesis of homeostatic regulation. That the planet and all its organisms, through and by all its organisms, is a conscious living entity. And I mean, isn't it just? It's all in motion, it's all a creator in motion, clearly, spurting off us. And the gold ring is like a halo. It's like an ascended Earth, because we've realized ourselves. We can blast off, we can totally change the universe. Eventually, when we go to what Michio Kaku calls a Type 3 civilization, or Type 2 civilization, we can control the energy of our star. So I'm thinking in the future we can definitely manipulate the universe, literally, like everything. Now, Genesis Singularis, I posit, is the start of that point. This 2012 change times, this point. And so everyone should be definitely waking up in specie, which means in kind. It means the planet's going to be shining through you, so to speak. The higher mind will shine through you, your heart will open, you'll have the insentient ascension. What's you? Well, most of you refer to your ego, and that's what we've identified with before this. More. That's what history was very identified with. Before 2012 was history. Now we're in the transcendental future. Maximum novelty. The time wave dampened into maximum novelty, to zero time, zero epochs, and it's all happening now at once. And so it's about reality selection once you realize that, because it's, well, then what do I choose? And that's it. Are you making a conscious decision what you're choosing, firstly? And then secondly, what are you choosing? And how's that? And then thirdly, you should think things like, how is that affecting the planet? Because we're part of this system called humanity. It's the larger body, so you're not separate from that. You're embedded within that, so it makes use. That's why me and others give to that. Like I have Conscious Zine, which just has tons of free information, so it's giving it to others so it can be used, and we're just going to evolve quicker, and we're going to have cooler stuff quicker. It's about working together if you want cooler stuff. You want a hoverboard, Seth Century, the Australian rapper? Well, we need to all work together. Everyone needs to work together, and I mean everyone knows this who's like an underground Australian rapper. I'm pretty sure as well. I wasn't paying him out, and all the new agers know this. So why isn't it the people that go to work, they march off to work? They're the ones that don't seem to know it. The sheep people, as we call them. And they're just the sleepwalkers and stuff, as people call them. Well, I like the name of organic portal to circle back round. The soulless human, because they're only up to about the I am my own master at the solar plexus or under the heart. So once you open the heart, the higher heart, the ascension occurs, and then you hold center in the third eye, and you start to build the Antakarana, higher light body, the pillar of light, and create the pinnacle of that, which is the higher mind, called the Antakarana, which is the rainbow bridge magnetically suspended between brain hemispheres, and then you can astral travel, and you are the species overmind. You go through Earth, indeed, when you astral travel. I've noticed this. I've been to these places called Agartha, some city in Earth, but it's spiritual. It's not a condensed, real rocky place like hell, but it's Agartha, and it wasn't hellish. It was weird, though. A little bit odd. Very Earth feeling, but more not like Earth feeling, more like a Gaia feeling, more of this. It's very spiritual. It was very weird, very odd. Takes a long time to integrate those kind of things, because that's something you have to integrate over a long time, figure out what's going on, and I'm starting to, and have quite a lot. The ascension, and you go through Earth to the stars, so to speak, and that's astral traveling. And you can go visit other people in their dreams. I do a lot of that. A lot of people tell me I've visited them in their dreams. And this is being open, so if you don't dream, you're probably not open. And you want to go to the yoga meditation healing page for sure, because there's perfect things to help you open there. And psychedelics are a big opening tool. They're not drugs, they're not synthesized things, only by nature. It's Mother Earth synthesized, ready for you now. You're ready for this. It's perfectly timed. Go pick the gold top magic mushroom, psilocybin cubensis. That's the one. Cannabis plus cubensis. I've done already a video on cannabis. Cannabis is glory. Glorious substance. I like this herb very much. It's very healing. It's cancer, HIV, inhibits TAT, so stops proliferation of HIV, and much more. Crohn's disease, ADD, ADHD, which I can vouch for. Makes me think instead of be reactive. I'm more creative. Ego dissolutive, all of the psychedelics are plant hallucinogens, and they make you transcendental, so you're not getting stuck on ideas, and they make the light from within indeed lace into reality. This is called soul exteriorization, and the more you're open the governor and functional channel up your spine and down the front, the microcosmic orbit, the more you'll be able to astral travel easy and visit people in their dreams and stuff, and not get stuck on thoughts like the thought of tackling my salad. was like, oh, I'm tackling it. And then I just thought of all of this. It's pretty funny. how something comes into the world, huh? Yeah, I was just driving back from Inbin. It's a really nice town out there. I drove through the forest, through the rain, and the mountain tops, the clouds on the mountains. It was beautiful. And it opened me up. And then it's like I have spontaneous glossolalia just from 2 joints of cannabis. And I always get it. By the time I come back, I'm in spontaneous glossolalia, basically. My bridge is going, my antakarana is going, my chakras are scintillating, ideas are forming, and I can just keep speaking like I am right now. So this is like how spontaneous, how language is helped along by psychedelics as well, and it actually helps you not get stuck on ideas. Download higher concepts, think outside the box, not be your cultural programming, be beyond that, not even be your thoughts. You start to realize, hey, I'm not these thoughts. As you smash yourself apart, like the analogy Terence McKenna made of the smashing an atom apart to see what it's on about, you smash yourself apart on a psychedelic high dose. Say 5 to 8 grams psilocybin cubensis, which is safe. It's pharmacologically safe. You have to take about almost 100 times that, or more than 100 times that, to hit a lethal dose. So you're fine. You can take like a pound and just be on the edge of dying. So but I don't recommend over 8 grams or 10 grams. You don't want much more, especially the first time. So anyway, this is about not getting stuck on an idea. That's what this talk was about. Meditation helps with this because there's one meditation where Dr. Billy Doctor goes into the Google Tech Talks team called Healing Psychosomatic Disorders with Meditation on YouTube. She shows you the mantra for each nervous ganglion and how many you do it per nervous ganglion. So if that nervous ganglion has 12 connections, you do the mantra 12 times. And it really is the best one I've found, even better than Montauk Chia's Microcosmic Orbit, which is very eye-opening, third eye-opening. I like the other one, Google Tech Talks, because it heals the body. It's going to be very much part of your BioBridge 1. What's the BioBridge? Well, Ray Kurzweil has coined biorevolution bridges, a term for de-aging. The biorevolution bridge 2, which is going to come soon, in I don't know, a decade or so, and what we're at now, a decade or 2, and what we're at now is the BioBridge Revolution 1, which is slower aging. So definitely meditation is part of this. I'm noticing it. I even noticed I was having a receding hairline more. I noticed it a tiny bit in 2010 when I was studying a lot for 2 years. So I studied like 16 hours a day most of the time, and I'm back on that now at the moment again. So when I was doing these 16-hour days in more uncomfortable, less novel conditions, because we're at maximum novelty here and more comfortable, I was less comfortable then, and I was more stressed, and I noticed my hair receding even. And once I started doing this meditation, it literally opens the top of your scalp. Energy goes through there more, and you can actually feel it come out of the top of your head too by the end of the meditation. She shows you that at the end. She goes, oh, feel it like this, and you do feel it. It's crazy. You can go different heights. It's like a spiral coming out of the top of your head of energy. And yeah, pictures help with this. There's many pictures that explain 1,000 words and 1,000 concepts on consciousazine.com, like the one a lot of people have seen. It's like purple background, sometimes with a golden frame, of this like humanoid, but it's basically just an outline of a person with all the chakras very intensely drawn. And then you have this thing on top of your head, which is like all these mirrors beaming out. I've seen other photos which mirror that. the beams would be actually drawn in the vectors as like electrical vectors coming out the top of someone's head. So now you see I'm painting you a picture. I'm trying to at least paint you a picture in your head. I can see the picture, and it's blue beam, like blue electricity coming out of the top of the blue guy's head, blue like spiritual looking humanoid's head, and that's another picture that relates to that. This relates to not getting stuck on ideas because you lose multilinguistical and multilinguistics and not getting stuck on ideas because you want to keep going, keep trying to connect the dots, because it just makes, that's along the lines of knowledge is power. So philosopher. The name of this talk is called Informational Wrecking Ball. That's my sort of synonymous lecture to Terence McKenna's philosophical gadfly lecture. I like that lecture of his because he goes in it. I'm Terence McKenna, philosophical gadfly, and I thought the other day, I'm an informational wrecking ball, so I'll do a lecture called that. Now, so let's talk more about where the energy's going then. Well, the New Earth Up program and the new disk insertion into the master drive of humanity, which is along the lines of the change from fear to love meta paradigm, some might know it as. So this is a master drive insertion to humanity. The star beings, the angels, are birthing through us, through star codes in the pineal when you're open. And if you're saying that, Ben, that there's a subhuman class, well, yes, a subhu, H-U-E-M, and then underscore M-A-N, human, man of the hue, man of the higher light body, the chakras, and higher mind. I'm saying, yes, some people don't seem to have this dreamtime connection, and they don't seem to have the higher heart and upward centers open. They don't remain in the upper triangle of the Merkaba. That's what was most beneficial during the compressed revolution here from 2007 to 2012, to remain in the upper triangle. I tried to do that as much as possible. Try to only quickly go into the lower triangle as much as possible, not remain there, such as being too sexual and letting it cloud your thoughts. Tried not to be like that, but I must say the energy was bursting through. And yeah, it's been quite a revolution. I actually gorilla grew and stuff, so it was quite a revolution for me. Hard times at points, and hopefully, I think I've been rewarded just by the experientiality of the nature of things, and it's changed it was ontologically peeling, this revolution. It peeled my relationship with nature away and made a different level. Something akin to the cellular level, maybe, but I think beyond. I think it's bigger than the mind consciousness pyramid of consciousness of this, mammalian consciousness to galactic consciousness to cellular level consciousness, all this stuff. The mind pyramid of consciousness. I think it's more than that. It's Genesis Singularis. I think the time wave shows us on the larger scale, larger picture, what's happened and how to understand it. So I think that's what you've got to look at mostly, or if you haven't yet, look at it. And that shows you how to stand back and that you are not the thoughts. See, the time wave actually shows you the philosophy is true, that you're not the thoughts. These are the Gaian thoughts. They're not your thoughts. They're the thoughts of the Gaian matrix as these waves mesh, and it all came together. Now we're in maximum novelty. That's why so many people have had the same experiences, like these aliens coming interdimensionally through the eye, future identities re-entering timelines. There's always the same experience that I've been told by my friends, over 20 people at least, 30 people also have said the same stuff. It's like a meet and greet. Often they're not even outline, they're not more than a dark shadowy outline. I have a shadow people post on the Lunacidal Paranormality page. So this is a real phenomena, and I don't think it's just the visual cortex doing those flutters at the edge of your eye. You can get them sometimes. That's the visual cortex, but I don't think it's that. I think it's the eye. It's much stronger, and that's why I noted Mark Johnson's conversation with me on the Lunacidal Paranormality page, because on the Lunacidal Paranormality page I've put up a embedded document, Word document, so you can see it written up. I put our names in red so it's easy to follow, and the reason I put that up is because it was kind of the epitome of what everyone told me as I went through the conversation with Mark. How he said it happened like this and that happened, blah blah blah. It was like a meet and greet, and yeah, it was just mirrored the other people who I've talked to's experiences, and it was not dissimilar from my own experiences. Therefore, I've made a conclusion, and I've gone into it all in that one single post called the Alien Post on the Lunacidal Paranormality page, because I do not think there are other physical humanoid aliens. There may be life on Europa. There may be life on the moons in our solar system. There may be life in other solar systems, but I think we're the height of complexity, honestly. But that's in physical form. I think there's a future state, and time is not what everyone sees it as. Everyone seems to see time as going forward. I see time as going backward to some future state. I know how it sounds. Sounds counterintuitive, but when you start to look at what you're faced with when you look at that, things start to, it can fall in place more, because it doesn't go against anything that I know of in physics. I mean, every bloody 6 months I read a science law's been broken or changed. Even the speed of light was said to have been changed recently by those guys. A lot of people would have heard about that in the last year. Or so it was. And I mean, it's not totally proven. They have to do other studies, didn't they, at other places, at other particle accelerators and stuff. And I haven't heard since. I can't remember. I don't think. But yeah, I just read. As soon as you read science a lot, you start to come across it. It seems flimsy stuff. These mathematical formulas sometimes. They seem quite flimsy and not the best way, this is what's important, not the best way to understand your reality and your life, and not the best way to live your life, maybe, along the lines of seeing the universe as quarks. In one sense, yes, helps you realize the field of illusion, and it helps you realize that all power really lies numinoumously and intangibly, not phenomeноusly and pragmatically. That's like the pinnacle of existence, pragmatism. But I think there's a future state which is always more transcendental. That's the forward attracting notion. I mean, the time wave came from slow uncomplexness to complexness. Now, Terence always used to say the limit case for credulity or gullibility is believing the universe popped out of nothing for no reason, and that's a singularity. And he used to say, if you in your theories you can have a singularity, I'll take mine at the end, thanks. And he used to say now, so it'd be equivalent to the higher mind of Earth now, the gold ring, and that's the singularity, and that's just a state to go to another state, obviously, where there might be a super state of our solar system or galaxy or something, I don't know. It's along these lines. They're like major cycle points, really. This is the intricately wired universe. When a star bursted 13 billion years ago, remember scientists say it takes 13 billion years for that light to get here. Well, that's hitting your pineal and giving you a download and running a program for you and changing your mind and blah blah blah. So that's the intricately wired universe and the music of the spheres. And where we're up to is this moving from reaction to creation, transcendental futurism, because we're becoming more and more transcendental and dissolved. We're going to start merging with machines a lot now, too. Nanotechnology. Apparently, blood cells are not as efficient as future nanorobots will be, according to Ray Kurzweil from the Singularity University in America. So your blood cells are going to be obsolete, apparently, to nanorobots. And yeah, that's a weird future, isn't it? Transcendental indeed. And virtual reality is going to be totally different when it becomes 3D and an image popping out of your computer and somehow encapsulating you in it, and normal 3D virtual reality and stuff. It's going to become more prominent. There's going to be so many changes, because I research a lot of this on, like, I don't know, smart materials. When I started reading science a lot in 2009, I saw articles on phys.org.com. There was a timeline you could go to, and on the timeline it showed materials science, the post picking up per year, and there'd be a line for every post on it, every article, and it was just picking up. And then likewise in another graph format of pie graphs, circular graphs, but actually, no, not a pie graph, actually just a circular blotch graph, where a blotch, the size of the blotch was how big, how much articles were in that genre. And for material sciences, it was, a big dot. So, and I mean, I've even heard stuff about building a space elevator with graphite or graphene or whatever it's called. I've forgotten. That material that's like 200 times stronger than steel at the atomic level. They want to build a space elevator, so it sort of dangles outside of the atmosphere and sort of keeps straight like that. It's actually from someone's book, I hear. Someone wrote a book about all that. Anyway, so not getting stuck on thoughts. We're never going to leave this planet if people don't stop acting like monkeys. People don't stop acting culturally programmed and religiously biased, and etc. I mean, wake up, people. You're not those things. Even if your parents grew you up to be that culture. My parents were very Dutch, traditional Dutch. It's a good culture. It's not too bad. It's not oppressive or anything, at least. And yeah, and they're pretty smart in their culture, and but I didn't really go along that. I was also born in Australia. I've got 500 years of Dutch past, right back to very Geian squeezed, time wave squeezed, I suspect. People, they existed only along the river, the pure Dutch, because they were oppressed from every direction. The Germanics from the north, the Anglo-Saxons from the left, upper left, and then the Franks from the bottom left, and then Middle East. Someone came from the Middle East, I think, as well. So that was around the time my name goes back to. I found out as well about the 1600s or 1500s. My last name and my Dutch heritage, but I was born in Australia, but see, I don't identify with either. I like Australia's culture too, but their cultures, their programs, they're like operating systems. I stand outside of that. I am the operator. You see, that's the difference. When you're religiously trapped, you're no operator. You're trapped in thought forms, recycled things, and yeah, it's no good. It's not good for your own evolution. I mean, it can be at a point, but if you stay stuck in it, no. and it's been really weird to me how all these old folks, baby boomers, could stay stuck in their religion um, embedded, so indebted in their religion, so brainwashed and stuff as well. I mean, there's good aspects to many religions, mantras from some, positive words from other, positive ways to act, so to speak, and helpful insights, but then there's all these things that have seemingly been altered by and edited by men in the past. Like, wasn't there 12 versions of the Bible burnt by kings or something? And why did the Bible come about 100 years later after Jesus is being around trekking? And what's going on? Well, I mean, I can attest to that one. What I think on that, why it would come around later, is because you got to think back then. They didn't have the internet. If I have a thought, I can write it on the internet really quickly now. But back then, maybe it took them a while to gather their thoughts, get the stuff together. I don't know, I'm completely speculating, but there's probably a more suspicious reason. But yeah, maybe that added to it. Yeah. So Jesus said, I am the light, the way, and the path to the Father and all that stuff. Now I can attest to that too. I say that too because it's about attaching to the stream. I call it laying on your bed of light, and you become a portal for others to enter into. Notice how, like, I'm teaching you a lot while we're talking, for instance. So I'm being a portal. You could ask me questions and I might even be able to answer you, help you along your way, along enlightenment, along the ascension. For instance, mentioning the thing about being awareness that you are not your thoughts. You can be them, but it doesn't mean you are them. You don't have to be them either. And that's all very healing too. So yeah, we don't want to get stuck on ideas. This is what this is all about. A culture can't evolve faster than the bandwidth of its language anyway. So I get annoyed sometimes when I have to say in that sense, because we shouldn't have to say in that sense. We should have specific words for specific things, specific phenomena and new nomina, concepts, and etc. I shouldn't have to say in that sense this, in that sense that. We need to evolve our language a lot more. Psychedelics definitely help with this. Plant hallucinogens and the very language synthesizing and schematical synthesizing. What schemata? Schemata I learned in marketing in my business degree, and it's just how you see the world, your makeup of the world in your brain. Your brain schemata, your neuronal connections, your brain cell connections, and that stuff. So this comes back to the indigo theme, and people call indigos indigo children. I say to drop the children because it only refers to our brain plasticity. And do you see how this comes back to not getting stuck on thoughts? So when you're brain plastic, for instance, I'm quite brain plastic. I won't feel hindered to say. I'm quite brain plastic. That's why I can talk the way I can talk, with reasonable vocabulary and on and on. Linguistic mastering or whatever. And so yeah, that's what that comes back to. Brain plasticity and this indigo theme. When you go inside yourself, you seem to not be what you've been programmed to be. That's the difference between the organic portals and ego people and indigos. Indigos can be the surface as well, and inside. Now, you say there's a problem of quali, a problem of duality here, Ben, the scholars might say. Well, no, because everything is intangible. Think about it. The pole that runs electricity to your house has the idea of the pole running electricity to your house. That's an idea, that's intangible, that's been made pragmatic. Spiritual reality is symbolic, not pragmatic. Pragmatic is tangible and touchable and grabbable, the actual pole, as you might say. But intangible is not real, we can see. See? This is called nunominous. Nuenomonous. Nunominous. I hope I spelled it right then. I think I chucked in an extra. But it's the opposite of phenomenous. Phenomenal stuff. Tangible stuff. So there is this nunominous inner light. When you go inside, go out of the ego, indigo, you become the collective oversoul. That's why I call it indigus, and put a little comma us behind indigus, because we're collective conscious creation, and we open. Gaia mind flows through us. You see, and it's not about being childish. We're just brain plastic, and we are more transcendental and not so stupid, and etc. So this is the great indigo revolution that we're undergoing now. The indigo evolution, this is adaptive radiation of phenotypy. I've talked about this in other talks, but hell, let's go into it. Heaven, let's go into it. So you can select your thoughts too. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to go to my note, bensnotes.weebly.com. Going to go to my indigo note. I'm going to read adaptive radiation. Here's a quote from the start of my indigo note. Just like the orange peel on the orange fruit, the best part of the human fruit is within. And then I say in bracket, yes, I'm aware, the white of the orange just on the inside of the orange is anti-cancerous, and that some people just eat the orange peel. I'm just metaphoring. So this is perturbation to a higher order, Indigo Revolution 2012. It's what the Neoplatonists called, and the Greco-Romans called, the Great Work, which ended in purpling. Huh? How's that for synonymousity and simulacrumicity? You are the microcosm of the macrocosm is the best way to understand what a simulacrum is. That's what a simulacrum is. So when I say IT is a simulacrum of reality, you should understand then what I'm saying. It talks about databases, of course nature has databases, a tree is a database, your body is a database, etc. HTML, hypertext markup language, XHTML, and all the other languages like Java, JavaScript, etc. C+. So adaptive radiation, indigo evolution. In evolutionary biology, adaptive radiation is the evolution of ecological and phenotypic diversity within a rapidly multiplying lineage. Starting with a recent single ancestor. This process results in the speciation and phenotypic adaptation of an array of species exhibiting different morphological and physiological traits with which they can exploit a range of divergent environments. The new environment is inside. Causes innovation. The evolution of novel feature may permit a clade to diversify by making new areas of morphospace accessible. The morphospace is inside. A phenotype, from Greek phanein, to show, plus typos type, is the composite of an organism's observable characteristics or traits, such as its morphology, development, biochemical or physiological properties, phenology, behavior, and products of behavior such as birds' nests. Phenotypes result from the expression of an organism's genes as well as the influence of environmental factors and the interactions between the two. Now, the environment, I say, through metapolarity change has caused us to go inside because it became so dark and fucking weird that it made us go inside. Indigo Revolution. Social scientists have isolated 4 breakthroughs of waves in societal change. Hunter-gatherers became farmers. Farmers were transformed by Industrial Revolution into factory workers. The Industrial Revolution gave way to the Informational Age, and the informational culture has progressed to a fast-paced, global, communication-intensive society. We are now in the 5th wave, where our future are no longer predicted on what happens out there. They are predicted on what happens inside ourselves. This is the Genesis Singularis, and crossing the naked singularity, the wormhole inside to the numinous dream time. You can astral travel after you do this. The stars are doing this too, I believe. Indigo is your evolution in the idgo. For one human being to seek enlightenment from another is like a grain of sand on the beach seeking enlightenment from another. Terence McKenna. So you seek enlightenment from yourself inside. A truth that you can't understand is of no use to you. Transcend the ego. The angels come through the pineal, third eye, or as I say, the eye, or one eye. I am associative, which is your download. It is your higher spirit path, as Descartes, one of the modern science founders, named it. The seed of the soul. The keys represent symbols that are built into codes that become strings of information that are tied to operational programs. A riser from the gold ring. Soul exteriorization. My 5th dimensional ride takes me deep inside. That was me. So, I'm going to end this, and I say enlightenment, self-education, direct experience is one aspect. I call this the big 3. That's one of the big 3. The second one is psychedeliation, smashing the consciousness apart to reorganize it in a much better way. And the third one is meditation, yogitation. So all yogic and meditative techniques. Alright, good night, have a good one. I hope that helped everyone. Look through consciouszine.com. That's where it all is. I'm just regurgitating info that I've found over the last few years to help you all. So that's where you want to look. Alright, enjoy. I'm going to have some food.